Payroll Beyond Borders is happy to present Mary Holland, Chief Customer Officer at Payslip. With over 30 years of expertise in finance and payroll, Mary is a well-recognized and certified payroll professional. She was named the APA Payroll Woman of the Year in 2016 and the California Payroll Professional in 2018. A frequent presenter at conferences, Mary is a strong advocate for payroll education and has played a key role in nurturing global payroll talent. Let's welcome Mary Holland to present on the topic, Global Payroll. It's more than a career, it's a passion.
Global payroll, it's more than a career, it's a passion. Good morning, good afternoon, and evening. In the next 30 minutes, I am going to share with you global payroll. It's more than a career, it's a passion. Many of you are thinking about payroll as a career option. Others are already working in the payroll industry and considering the next career move. What I can guarantee you, you will have many opportunities beyond borders, and you will have a career that provides passion and personal achievement. As Neeyamo is challenging us over the next 2 days to consider Payroll Beyond Borders. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat box, and we will answer them at the end of the session. Our agenda today is: what is payroll? Careers beyond borders, skills and resources, and passion, not just a job, but a career. What is payroll? Well, most of us think about the compensation that we receive for getting paid each week, bi-weekly, or semi-monthly as payroll. But it's more than that. It consists of calculating earnings, withholdings, required taxes, and in some countries, they have no taxes like Dubai. We are required to report that based on employment and taxation regulations in a particular country or location. So it is very complex as you move beyond borders when you go country to country. Just as an FYI, payroll was first used as a word in 1740. The early payroll calculations and payment was not paid through currency, it was also paid through goods and services. So someone could work for goods and services and may have received compensation in food and benefits. Sometimes payroll is referred to as the pay that you receive for your employee compensation, the amount due, and in all, it's the process of calculating and distributing wages and taxes. When we look at global payroll, what are those elements that are in global payroll? So as we move across the globe, each country and each location has different rules and regulations, from social taxes to income taxes to compensation components that are paid in different components in organizations, from providing your base salary to overtime to bonuses. All of these contributions between travel expenses, pension contributions the employer pays to you are all part of the many components that are part of payroll. This involves the payroll professional being aware of the different changes and requirements of employment and taxation in each location. So we all know that it is not the same from country to country. So you need to know that payroll does have a complex piece to understand what is required in that particular location, and payroll professionals around the globe are making sure that the employee is paid timely and accurately each pay period by following the employment and taxation laws. When we look at careers in payroll, payroll is one of the areas that has a vast variety of careers. You can start as being a payroll professional, and you may end up being a consultant. So one of the benefits that I see personally is it has a vast ability for you to be able to switch into different careers, expand your footprint from starting at one position, but you may move to another position that you find a passion and growth. So really, when we look at careers, Often we look at in payroll, some people are starting in managing and doing payroll processing, some in just a local country, or they may be doing processing for multinationals. Some then move to organizations and become the global owner, and they're responsible for multinational payroll around the world. So that's one piece of working in payroll. The next piece that you could possibly choose as a career or an area to work in is really developing the payroll software. So, looking at the technology solution, providing solutions, enhancements to it, working on the calculation engine behind that all of the calculations are done in a particular country, supporting an organization that is doing payroll calculations, or could be supporting an organization that is also working with global mobility that is looking at taxation for expats. And then you can also be working in an area with payroll that you're providing global payroll education. So for many organizations across the world, we have global associations, and we have people that are working in those organizations that are providing education to payroll professionals or people that want to learn more about payroll. And sometimes, even inside companies, there's training that is done. So, there's a training department that would provide education. So, if you have a desire for education, this would be a perfect area if you were in payroll and wanted to support that piece. So, we can see you can be a in-country provider, you can work with development and technology, and you can also do education. But we go to the third pillar, and we can see that you can work directly for a provider and vendor. So you can work in customer service, you could work in implementation, you could also be an analyst. So, an analyst that's following the payroll, the global payroll space that goes out and provides information about different vendors and services, does blogs, does webinars. And you, of course, could also be a consultant. And a consultant can have a wide variety. You can look at business strategy for that particular company. You can help somebody set up their payroll. You can do education. You can be a project manager. So there's a vast variety of careers beyond borders in payroll. It's really what area you want to work in. And one of the things that I see in payroll is there's an opportunity for everyone to move forward. Find that passion and place that you like. And you don't have to stay in that particular role forever. You can move to different roles. And often we sometimes see people starting out in payroll and start the processing. But before you know it, they're a consultant or they're a project manager in a global space. So looking at what you like to do and where is that area that you really find your passion. So thinking about as we move forward. When we look at careers beyond borders, as on this slide, we have many different careers. And I already shared with you, you can have many different pieces as we move forward. You can be a global owner. So, being a global owner and directing the payroll for your multinational organization. You can be a payroll specialist, and that specialist may just be processing payroll for a single country or a group of countries, maybe in a particular region like in EMEA or maybe India. You could be a reporting analyst that's supporting the business and looking at the analyzing the cost of employee expenses and providing that information to senior leaders so that they can make strategic decisions on where to put employees and how many hires they need in a particular location. And then as we move over to our systems or IT, in that area, there's a vast area of support that payroll people can move towards and work in those areas. So you can be working as supporting the system in an HRIS and payroll system, so it can be combined area that you're working and supporting the system. You can be a payroll consultant. So payroll consultants are always valuable in around the globe. They provide insight and help support the organization, helping with anything from a single implementation to a business transformation. So it's a wide variety of area that you're supporting and you're helping the business. And really when we look at it is do you want to work for a payroll service company? So there's many positions outside of payroll that you'd be work for a service provider or even a support organization where your role might be customer service. It could be implementation. It could be product development. You could also be somebody that's going to look at all of the compliance in it for a vendor and making sure the compliance is set up in the organization for the calculation. So there's a wide variety of operation positions that you can have. So I want to say it's really beyond borders. If you haven't started your payroll career and you're interested in moving into payroll, it's an area that provides you a vast area of finding that space that you find that you like, and then you can move forward. For people that are already in payroll, I encourage you to challenge yourself. Where would you like to be? If you are sitting today as a payroll admin and you have a desire to be a consultant or you have a desire to be work for a vendor, that opportunity is available for you. You have the ability in payroll because there's such a vast area of support functions that are needed that you too can choose any piece of the career that you want. And we'll be talking about later in the presentation a little bit about passion and you deciding which area you want and moving forward by getting the education and talking and maybe possibly getting a mentor to help you walk through that experience. When we look at payroll, often people will say, I landed in payroll and I never ever thought I was going to be in the payroll career. I too can agree with you. Payroll landed in my lap. I was working in finance as a finance manager when payroll then landed in my lap as a piece of my responsibility. Little did I know that as I moved forward with having payroll reporting to me, that I would find that I had a passion for global payroll. And that passion came in a very fluke instance when a VP took me on a trip around the globe to look at the payroll operations for a particular company. I remember leaving to take that trip out of San Francisco, and he said, "This will change my life." And I couldn't imagine one trip or one particular experience would change your life. Well, I do have to admit, it did change my life. It gave me the passion for global payroll. And that's one of the things that I want to open it up to you. It is there, and the passion is there for whatever you actually want to do. So it's really you that gets to decide where you want to be. So typically in the world of payroll, a lot of people come from um, finance degrees. They might have an HR degree in certification. They might have taken payroll certification classes or some business administration classes. Occasionally, you see people that come directly from the IT area, and they were hired in a large organization, and then their role or responsibility is payroll. So it's varies,
Please feel
but
free to
typically you
reach
see a
out via
finance and a
LinkedIn,
business
and I'd be
administration
happy to
in the
connect
background,
and
or
discuss
somebody
your
that's
payroll
taken a
journey as
couple
well.
years of a certification
Have a
before
good day.
they actually position themselves into payroll. One of the things that's extremely important that I wanted to highlight is the Global Payroll Association in 2021 worked with LinkedIn to have LinkedIn recognize payroll as a career option. Now, this is a huge, huge piece that has been done because just being able to be recognized as an official career option and something that someone can actually choose and knows that is a career option is extremely important. And then, really, the other thing I pulled out was that I wanted to highlight that in LinkedIn there was 178,000 payroll jobs, and only over 4,000 jobs were added as of January of 2022. So you can see, and this is just in the U.S. So remember that we're across the globe. This is just a small snapshot of the job openings and the possibilities for payroll professionals to achieve jobs. I will tell you, in the global space, I see many, many jobs and many, many offerings daily. So just recognizing that it is a growing marketplace. It is a career that will move you forward. And it also is extremely important to the organization. And then, really, just the growth for the marketplace between 2021 and 2025, it's supposed to grow. Estimated growth is 6.15 billion. So, just recognizing that this is a career that is something that has career space and growth. And especially when we're making a career move to go to a new position, or we're in an existing position, it's great to know the career path is there and that we do have an opportunity to expand our knowledge and find that passion of what we actually like to work with. When we work with payroll, and when we talked about the accounting background, we might come from finance, we might come from business administration, we might have taken a couple years certificate. One of the things that I see is really important in the payroll space, especially when we're going beyond borders and we have employees and workers all across the world, is it's really essential to have what I call payroll essential skills. Often it's called soft skills. One of the reasons that I don't particularly like the word soft skills because it doesn't highlight the importance of those skills. So these are skills that are required to be successful in a payroll industry in any career. But to be very honest, they're career things that need to be in any role that you move forward with. But in payroll, they're very important because we have many pieces that we need to work with and we have complex things that we're working through with different regulations and taxation in each particular country. So when we look at it, we go around that. Of course, we need to have leadership. We need to have a leader that's going to help us and move us forward, and we at least know where we're moving. We have to have some critical thinking skills, meaning critical thinking in that we know what's actually happening. We can look at a problem and we can figure out what the root cause is. What caused that item not to work correctly? Looking at it from a strategic view. So having that strategic thinking about what is going on in the situation, how can we better resolve that working closely with the team? Positive attitudes bring you far forward by just having positive attitudes. We all know some days aren't the best day in our work career and others are great. So really just trying to keep that positive attitude, working and cooperating with the teams, trying to figure out what happens when we have a conflict, working together to solve a problem and really negotiating between what really actually has to happen and should happen. Sometimes it's negotiation inside your company to figure out, can you deliver it tomorrow versus that I wanted it today. Negotiating with your client to make sure that you understand and say, I know you wanted that particular delivery on Tuesday, but after reviewing the requirements, it appears that we're going to need another 5 days. Will that work for you? Having that negotiation and clear transparency is extremely important. We all know that teamwork is really important. And when we work in a global space and we're working with employees, we're working with senior leadership, we're working with IT folks, we're working with a variety of people, we all know that we have to be considered trustworthy. And we're working towards that to solve problems. We're willing to corroborate. We want to have cooperation. We really want to make sure the team understands that we are working together in the best interest of the company and the best interest of the employee. Now, as we move around, we go to communication. And communication often is, we always hear we need to communicate, communicate, and communicate in any type of project you're on, any type of organization change that's happening, any type of schedule that's happening. We talk about communication. And often, I think sometimes it's underestimated, but it's extremely important, especially when we talk about the global space, right? Everybody does not always speak English. So let's first recognize that and make sure that we listen. We have to listen. We have to think about how we're going to communicate with people that do not speak English or they don't feel comfortable communicating in English because they want to make sure that their English is okay. So thinking about that, looking at the oral, the written, right? So sometimes the written piece in communication, if English isn't your first language, you may find different pieces of that. Looking at you have to be culturally aware and look at the communication, how we're going to communicate and build that gap. The culture piece of communication is extremely important so that that person feels comfortable to communicate and share what's actually happening. And then, of course, we always have to be adaptable. So adaptability is a huge piece, and agile. So as we adapt and we're agile in our workplace and in the payroll space. In payroll, one of the things that we have is we have always have deadlines when the payroll is due, when the file is due, when the calculations are due, the payment are due. Things don't always run 100% perfect, right? So we have to be able to be adaptable. How are we going to make those adjustments? Make sure we're agile with the different things that actually happen. Sometimes you have to be creative and be actually trying to figure out what can you do in that situation so that we still meet the requirement to make sure we're paying employees on time and accurately. So really looking through that. Sometimes it's agile. You have to be in adaptability in an implementation where you have to make an adjustment when something is received late or you found a bug in the system. How are we going to adapt to the change or the new bug or the delay in the project? So looking through all those pieces, if we're using technology and we are supporting technology and we find an issue, how are we going to adapt quickly and be able to have that positive attitude as we move forward? So that's one of the things we have to think about. All of these skills kind of play with against each other so that we can all build the best version of ourselves. So remember, at the end of the day, we're all trying to build that best version of ourselves so that we have a career and we're supporting the organization that we're actually working for. And that brings us to the last kind of circle here on the global payroll skills is really the work ethic. Having the ability to have a strong work ethic. And really professionalism is a piece of it, seen as being trustworthy, right? So the team members on your team, the workers that are supporting you, they trust that you're going to support them. The employees trust you that you're going to pay them timely and accurately. Now, that's really, really important and goes along with dependability. When we look at payroll around the world, people are coming to work to earn a living for their family. So they have strong trust in the organization that they're going to be paid timely, on time, but they also need to make sure it's accurate so there's no problem with taxation in a tax agency and that they're receiving the correct payment because that's what they expected. And yes, it seems like it should be a simple task, but as we move around the world, sometimes it's easier in some countries, and some countries it's a little bit more complex. And that's the fun and the challenge that we have with payroll is not everything's the same, and everything does not stay the same, which is another piece that really keeps us adaptable and have that positive attitude and having the ability to problem solve and think about how we're going to handle this new situation that's come forward. When we look at payroll associations, we have many payroll associations that provide training. So if I look and I haven't considered payroll as a career, or I've been working in payroll, but I would like to advance my career, it's really important to look at what country you're working in or living in and what associations are available. Now, remember, all these associations that I have listed here are virtual. So you don't necessarily, if you wanted information in about Canada, you don't necessarily have to live in Canada. You can reach out to the Canadian Payroll Association and get information on Canada. You can get information about Australia. You can also get information from the Global Payroll Association and the Global Payroll Management Institute on global classes and get global knowledge. So if you are a payroll professional that has been working in a particular country and you have a desire and one of your career goals is to work in global payroll, then there's two great associations that you can go out to those associations, look at their website, get some information, read their material, put yourself on Twitter to get the updates, maybe even LinkedIn. All of those are great ways to get information on different associations. It's also a great way to get yourself connected to start reading information in that global space. If I need information on the UK and I'm challenging, then I go out to the CIPP and get information from the UK. One of the things that's very important to think about, just so that you're aware, is that many of the associations and the ones on the stars that I've highlighted are associations that actually offer certification programs. So what that means is they have a certification program so that you can be certified in a particular country's payroll. So, for example, the American Payroll Association has two certifications for US payroll. Can, the Canadians also have a certification, and there's two or three different programs they have, along with our friends in the UK. So if you need payroll information for a particular country, or you have a desire to expand your personal career, you have these associations available to you to expand. The other thing is they're available to you with great education and updates. So I would encourage you, if you have a desire or you need support, is to reach out to these associations, put them on your bookmark, and start to look at their information. It's always great, even if you're not quite ready to go global, or you're not quite ready to do Canadian payroll. You can start to look early and understand what's actually some of the complexity and get some education. Remember, we're never too old to stop learning, so we always should keep learning to keep ourselves current in the payroll space. So when we look at payroll, payroll is more than a job. So if you had 100 payroll professionals at a conference, or you were at a meeting with payroll professionals, one of the key things that will always come out is the passion that they have each and every day to do their job. And I consider them essential workers, and they have done an essential job in the last 2+ years as we've gone through one of the major challenges that we've had in the world with COVID. These workers have figured out how to get through the payroll challenges. They have made sure that the employees were paid timely and accurately so that they could support their families. They really are the lifeline and the blood that of each organization to keep things going. But remember, they play such an impact to the employees that are workers in our organization, meaning the compensation that is being paid to the employee really helps them support their families. At the end of the day, we all know people come to work to earn a compensation. And one of the things that they do expect is to have it delivered on time and it to be accurate. And it's really, really important in the payroll space. You'll see that workers in payroll will make sure this happens. They have huge value and respect that they want to make sure, and trust with the employees. They look at every piece to make sure it's delivered accurately and timely, and they take their job seriously. But with that, they find the passion of being able to provide timely and accurate payments and supporting the organization. As a career path, I find it more than just a job. It is a passion. It is something that you have a community of people. You always have somebody there to support you if you have a challenge, or you don't understand how to do a calculation, or you just need a support for a bad day at work. Payroll professionals are there for you, and they're always willing to help. It also provides the ability for you as a person as an individual, to continue your career, that you always have the ability to acquire new skills. Payroll doesn't stay the same. It moves, new regulations, new requirements, new country requirements. You're expanding here in your organization. So you always have the ability to expand, and your ability makes a difference. So you have the ability to expand your career, and then you have a career path that you can feel confident about. You also can feel passionate about, and then you have the ability to know that what your contributions are doing are making a difference in the organization, but they're also making in the difference in the employees that you're supporting. So you have the ability to have a passion and a role that does have value. And we look at payroll, how does payroll provide passion? So as I shared with you, payroll professionals all have a passion. It doesn't matter where you are around the globe. It's Beyond Borders, as Neeyamo has with Beyond Borders. Every payroll professional, no matter where you are, you're going to see the passion. You're going to see the ability that it's a lifeblood. They know that they're supporting the employees. They know they're supporting their economy. They know that their contribution make a difference, that each payment is a person. So we are paying a person, not just a batch of items, right? So we're paying a person. It means something to that person. It's not just a job, you're essential, right? And your contributions have the ability to make strategic changes in the organization and support the growth. You can provide strategic information to senior leadership for them to make strategic decisions as we move forward. You're respected and trusted by all of your employees and your organization. Now, that's a really, really good thing to feel passionate about, is that my employees and my organization, or the work that I'm doing as a payroll provider, they feel and respect me for the organization that I'm doing. People are choosing the company that I'm working for because they respect the work I've done. They know that I'm going to follow through. They trust me. They know that I'll problem solve. They know that I'm going to communicate. They know that all of those things that are happen in a world of payroll, that I'm going to be there for them. So you can feel very passionate of working in a group with that particular kind of DNA. And also, you have the ability to expand yourself, right? We can understand, where am I today? And what are some of those skill sets, so that I said essential skills, that I need a little work on, but I can move forward and know that my work forward is going to make a difference in my personal career, but it will also make a difference in the organization that I'm working for. So you're having a win win on that. So looking at that as payroll provides passion. So when we look at steps to have a career passion, so first of all, I strongly believe we spend a great deal of time at work, right? No matter if how many hours we work or what our schedule is, we spend a lot of time at work, and sometimes we spend more time at work than we do with our families, just because we have demands, and that's just the way our requirements are. So, in that time that we're spending at work, we need to have passion with it, right? It should be just more than a job. It cannot be just a job. We really have to look at, what are those things that I like to work on at work? You all know yourself. And sometimes it's just sitting down and thinking about it. What would I like to do? If somebody gave me a blank sheet of paper and I could map out my new career path, what would I like to do if I'm already in payroll? Or how about if I'm considering payroll? What do I need to do to take that first step to get that job? So, looking at, what do you need to work on, and where can I move forward? What are my strengths and what are my weaknesses? Often, sometimes we all know, and I know interviewing new candidates where I work, I'm sure everyone just loves the question, what are your strengths and what are some of the weaknesses? But thinking about those, writing them down and thinking about, how am I going to take care of some of those things that I consider weaknesses? And am I going to, 2022 is a new year. Let me start working on those items. And at the end of the year, I'm going to say, I've worked on that. Or even reaching out to somebody to get some support and saying, can I talk to you about that? Can you please help me? Even talking to your manager to talk about things that you can actually improve on is extremely important. Think about, on that blank sheet of paper, what do you dream of doing? Do you have a dream to be a VP of global payroll? Do you have a dream to be a technology developer in payroll? Do you want to be customer service? Would you love to be an educator in the payroll space? Do you want to be a developer? All of those things are things that we dream of. Follow your dreams. You need to follow your dreams. Don't let anybody take away from your dreams. Get the resources that you have to make sure that it actually works. It's really important to follow your dreams. Dreams do come true. And remember, sometimes they may not seem like it's going to happen immediately, but you might not have the clear path in your journey. Your career may take different paths, But remember, if you want it, it will happen. And you have to be the one to make that career decision. So really look at that. The other thing, when we're unsure about, well, I might choose payroll. I'm not sure. I'm already in payroll. I'd like to do something different. What's available to me? One of the best things to do is to go out to LinkedIn and look at the jobs, right? To see what's in those job descriptions, what's out there. You can also talk to your friends that are in payroll. What is their job like? What do they work? Some people work in the entertainment payroll business, which is completely different from somebody that's in the technology payroll business. You might be running a payroll operations that's just for Europe, and the complexity of that, the combination of the countries in Europe, you have great skill set because each of those countries is different, and you understand a wide variety of employment, taxation, time off rules, overtime rules. Or you might just be in Asia opening operations in China or Japan. So looking at what that is available and ask questions so that you can actually look at where you might be interested. I encourage people to look at the associations. There's a lot of webinars that are out there from human resources and the payroll associations that are free. I also encourage people to look at Twitter. And I know it may seem strange. I'm not telling you that you have to go out and tweet about things, but I will tell you, just being an observer on Twitter, you can get a lot of great articles from providers, payroll associations, accounting organizations, HR organizations that post great articles that are talking about relevant information that's happening today. So that's a great way to get information. And it's just looking at, in my week, how much can I allocate 30 minutes or an hour to take a look at what's actually going on and read a couple articles and look at that. You might want to consider a mentor. So, really, having a mentor is somebody that's going to help you move your career forward. Looking and thinking about a mentor. That mentor is somebody that you really respect, but you also want that mentor to be somebody that's going to tell you the truth. And often, sometimes, that mentor may say things that you may not particularly like because they're trying to help you to move forward on something that you need to work on. So really a mentor is a great way to move forward. It's a someone that can support you. If you don't designate yourself to a single mentor, think about surrounding yourself with payroll professionals, HR professionals, IT professionals that you can reach out to and ask questions and feel good about that. Just remember, it is your career path. You have a career journey. I would encourage you, we just moved to 2022 as we're in January, is think about what's going on with your career. Look at what you've done the last year. Make sure you write that down. Make sure you have your achievements so that you know exactly what you did in 2021. So if somebody asks you, what did you do in 2021? You have the list. You have it ready. What do you want to do for 2022? Challenge yourself, push yourself, and at the end of the day, when everything is happening, just remember, believe in yourself, you can do it, and you have a lot of support. All you have to do is ask. So don't be afraid to do that. So when we look at the careers, so your next steps, so the next step that I'm challenging you to do is to review your current career path. What are you doing today? Am I just graduating from college? I'm just graduating from secondary school. I've taken a couple of years in a payroll administration. What do I want to do in my career and where do I want to go? I already told you need to go out and look at those career roles and take a look at what's required in those skill sets. Is it something that challenges me? I'm very interested in. I like to work in customer service. I like to support people. I like to do implementations. I would love to be a project manager. What is involved with being a project manager? How do I get that project manager certification? So you need to look out and you need to look at what's best for yourself. What are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? What do you really enjoy doing? And make sure that you jot that down. Putting it down sometimes forces us to look at that, also forces us to develop a plan. Also, I would encourage you, if you're not sure about what to do with it, you want to think about it, put something on that Outlook calendar once a month to spend 30 minutes on yourself. Set that time away and think about, what have I done this last month? What do I feel good about my career path? What could I do? What article could I read? What webinar can I attend? How can I move forward? Can I help others in my organization? Can I lead teams in my organization to help them? Can I help people that are just starting their career in payroll? Can I volunteer to help and provide them? And that, remember, everything that you achieve, that you're going to find passion and enjoyment, and it's an achievement that is there for life. So remember, at the end of the day, it's about you and making the best version of yourself and having the career that you have the passion about, that it is not work, it's just a career. And when you do retire, you're going to have that career path that you said, wow, what a wonderful career. I had all of these pieces, and I was able to support organizations, employees, by being a customer service, by being consulting, by project management, but you made a difference. If you would like to contact me, feel free to contact me with my contact information. I'll be happy to assist you and help you move forward with your payroll career, or even think about what career you might like. So thank you for Neeyamo, and thank you for spending your time today.